Hello, everyone. Olá, pessoal. We are starting today another Wikidata number 37. And today we will talk about uploading images or media files to Wikimedia Commons using OpenRefine. And I'll bring a special guest. I think it's one of the people that most participated, presented Wikidata Labs throughout the years. And I'll bring Sandra in just a second. Let me grab you. Okay. So thank you, Sandra, for joining us today and demonstrating these new feature updates from OpenRefine. And I would like to let me grab the link. I want to ask everyone watching and everyone watching later also to participate in a forum that I'll post the link here. So everyone can answer which times and days and future topics of the Wikidata Labs and participate in the planning of these events. And I think the link went through everything. Yes. So the form is in English, is in Portuguese also, and you answer in whatever language also you want. We will try to translate. So that's the informs I have, and I'll pass to Sandra. Thank you so much for taking the time and joining us for this presentation.
Thanks, Eder. It is indeed my enormous pleasure to be here again. The third time, I don't know. And I'm very excited to be able to talk about OpenRefine again. I have been working with OpenRefine for a while to help develop additional features in OpenRefine for Wikimedia Commons. 1 year ago now, there was a previous, I don't know which number that was, it was also already a high number, a previous Wikidata Lab was dedicated to using OpenRefine to take existing files on Wikimedia Commons and add structured data to them. And that recording, as I just told Eder while we were preparing, is already quite popular. In this session now, I think maximum an hour. Let's see how it goes. I haven't really timed it while I was preparing. So in this session now, I will actually show how you can now use OpenRefine to upload files to Wikimedia Commons, upload new files. So OpenRefine is a batch tool. It is a tool that can be used to clean data, to work with Wikidata. A year ago, additional functionalities have been added for Wikimedia Commons, and you can now also use it to upload files to Wikimedia Commons. With this session, I'm kind of supposing that the people who listen to this session already have used OpenRefine. So I will not go through the basics of OpenRefine. There are lots of tutorials about that on YouTube already. There have been Wikidata Labs about it as well. So I will assume that the people who listen now already know OpenRefine, but the new thing that I'm going to show is how to do the uploads to Wikimedia Commons. Many people ask me, like, why should I use OpenRefine and not PattyPen? Both are absolutely great tools. PattyPen still only does structured data, no structured data yet. So when you use PattyPen, it is actually, I will be honest, much easier to use than OpenRefine. With PattyPen, you use a spreadsheet and you put it in PattyPen and then you upload your files to Commons. Unfortunately, it does not support structured data yet. I have heard from the developers of PattyPen that they are really interested actually in making a new version that will support structured data, and I will, be super happy if they do that. So if you want to go the easy way, just doing no structured data yet, you can do PattyPen, and then you can use like OpenRefine or other tools afterwards to add structured data. But if for some reason, and many people do already, if you think, oh, I just want to do the upload in one go, I want to do structured data first, for me structured data is important, then OpenRefine is actually a really good choice. I noticed that OpenRefine until now has been used a lot by mainly cultural institutions and more advanced Wikimedians who already have, lots of metadata about their files, and they immediately want to do structured data on Wikimedia Commons while they do the uploads. And that's also what I'm going to show you now. So that is what the tutorial is going to be about. So I will show a very small upload of some of my own files, a few GLAM files, and I will show you the process of how I upload them to Wikimedia Commons. And what is important about this session is also I will show some very new things that have not been properly documented yet. So for people who watch this session now or afterwards, I will put a link in the chat and hopefully Eder can repost it. So at the info page itself of this Wikidata Lab session, under the links of interest, I will not say it in Portuguese, I put a few extra links. So there is one, I will start sharing my screen as well, so that will help. Just bear with me while I do that. All right, I will share an entire window so that you can, let me see that I take the right one, that I can switch tabs. Okay. Either if this does not look good, then let me know. It looks good to me. So this is the info page about this Wikidata Lab. Welcome, everyone. And under the links of interest, I put a few additional links that you can consult during, listening to my chat or afterwards. One of them is the general info page about OpenRefine on Wikimedia Commons. So we have an info page here that has information about OpenRefine itself, how to install it. And from there is a link with a temporary Google document. It's been temporary for more than a year. It is a little bit outdated, but there's a step-by-step document on how to upload files to Wikimedia Commons with OpenRefine. So if you hear me say something and you're like, oh, I want to read this in text, then you can go to this Google Doc. I will now in this session tell a few extra things that are not in this document yet. So it is a little bit outdated, but the document should be helpful. It has the basics. It has, some reference things that you will find handy. And I also linked a Google Sheet that I made. So this is the Google Sheet of the files that I will upload. I will talk about that a little bit later. And I have also linked an Etherpad, which has all the links again. Redundance is good. So this is the Etherpad. With again the links and some more examples of the Wikitext that I will also use during the process. This may still sound very vague, but I will demonstrate everything starting now. Good. So I will now, after showing you the resources that are ready for you, I will now start demonstrating. I welcome everyone. Let's see. Oh, I see some comments here. I will keep half an eye on the chat, try to. But I might be very caught up in giving the explanation. So if there are, listeners live at this moment and you have any questions, feel free to interrupt me, Eder as well. If you want to ask me some deeper questions, if something is unclear, feel free to interrupt, and I will be happy to answer the questions immediately. Just feel free to, call over me, and I will, switch to the question. I can also take questions at the end, of course. Good. What do I want to show you? So I have OpenRefine already open here. So I am assuming that people who watch this video, as I said, already have OpenRefine installed on their computers, that they have used it before. So I will not go into all the things like filtering and faceting, because I assume that you already know that. I assume that you already know reconciliation. If not, there are really good resources out there to learn it. I want to start from there. So I will start with you from a list of files that I want to upload now. And because I'm now showing a browser window, I cannot really show the files, but I will see if I can do something funky here. Let me see. I will drag a few files to my window. This is a picture I took in my neighborhood of a public artwork. This is a bench that commemorates an old burgomaster, an old mayor of a town. So I have a few pictures like this, of public artworks in my surrounding. This is from a town next to me. I also have one really funky picture of a group picture taken at the last Wikimedia hackathon of the exact moment when the GlamWiki toolset was turned off. So the GlamWiki toolset also was an upload tool for Wikimedia Commons. It is not working anymore. And at the hackathon, we Lego, who is here in the picture, turned it off. And this is the exact moment when that happens. I will also upload this picture. So just the general picture I want to upload to Commons. And in addition to that, I also have 4 images that I downloaded from a Glam website. This is one of them. It's actually 4 pictures of also a very big public artwork in Arnhem in the Netherlands. So, and I put all this information together here in a Google spreadsheet. The Google spreadsheet is also linked for you from the info page about the event. So you can go to the spreadsheet and look at, what kind of information did I put together there. One first question may indeed be like, Sandra, if I want to upload files to Wikimedia Commons with OpenRefine, do I indeed need to prepare a spreadsheet? The answer is no, it's not necessary. The only thing you need in the basis, although it will be a little bit difficult, but you can do it, is just a list of files on your computer, and you can just feed those files to OpenRefine. That would work. I'm actually going to do that now. I can, it will take me effort to switch to my Finder window, but basically what I'm going to do at this moment is I'm going to go to my Finder. I work with a Mac, and I have now copy-pasted the list of the path names, the places of those files on my computer. The process to get those is a little bit different for either a Mac or Linux or Windows, and that is very well explained in the Google Doc that I linked in in the instructions. And you can start actually a project with that. So you can just say in OpenRefine, create project clipboard, and now I will paste. I will make it a little bit bigger. I will paste the path names, and then I can start a project with that. I'm not going to do that, but in theory, you could do that. I would recommend doing this only if all your files are very much the same, if there's very little differences between them. Because in OpenRefine, you will need to add additional columns. You can very well do that. The tool does that very well, but it is not the easiest thing to do. It is, in my opinion, easier to prepare your data if it's different in a spreadsheet. Another possibility is that you can maybe work with, I don't know, sometimes people do an import from a cultural institution website and they have an API. You can also open an API in OpenRefine. That is really for the more advanced people. I've done that a few times, and for me it is a little bit high level, but you can actually create a project from a web address. And let me see, I think that's the way to do it. Paste the API link here, and then you will retrieve the metadata from the API. That's also a way to start a project. So that's why OpenRefine is really nice for GLAMs that have APIs and that have, ways to access their data. But in my case, I created a spreadsheet. I've created a Google Sheet, and I have already done the effort beforehand. As I said, this is not compulsory, but I've done it. The effort beforehand to create the necessary columns that I will need to do the upload in OpenRefine. So what kind of columns do I have? I will make this a little bit bigger. It is very similar to what happens in Pattypan. If you've used Pattypan before, this will look familiar. You see my column names are really descriptive. The name of the columns doesn't matter as long as it makes sense to you. So I have these file paths that you just saw me paste in OpenRefine. So one example is looks like this. I don't know. I will also put it in the chat maybe. Then Heather can also put it to you, to the viewers. So this is what the local paths look like. So you need to tell OpenRefine where the file is on your computer, and that is the absolute path to your computer. If you have Windows, that will look like C:\\, etc. On the Linux, I'm not a Linux user. It will probably look a little bit like on the Mac here. So I have a column with that, and then you add a column with the file name that you want the file to have on Wikimedia Commons with the extension behind it. So In some cases, you might prepare the file names already very well on your own computer, but it is always very good to make sure that your files have really good file names that are discoverable. So don't use DSC 35444 or something like that. But I would advise to, for any upload, not just with OpenRefine, but for any Wikimedia Commons upload, to give your files a very descriptive name, because it will help people to find the files. So in my case, I have given the files names like this. This is the GLAM file that I've used actually the file naming convention of that institution that we've used before. We already have hundreds of thousands of files from that institution on Commons, so I've used the convention. There are no strict rules, but just make them descriptive. That would be my recommendation. What else do I have? I'm also assuming you already know a bit about structured data on Commons. So you add the columns that you will need in Wikimedia Commons, in structured data on Commons. I've added a file caption. So for instance, in this case, I've added the caption that is the description of the file on the Cultural Heritage website. Maybe I can show you what it looks like on the website itself. So this is the file. Oh, this is the file I want to upload. So I'm just taking the description from there and I've put it in my spreadsheet. Of course, I could have used their API, but I haven't done that. I also add the language of the file caption. If all your file captions have the same language, then that's not even necessary. On Commons, you also want to add the date when the file was created. So you see that it's very different. The files, the pictures that I've taken myself have been recent. They come from my own smartphone. And so they have been from last year and this year. But then the 4 GLAM files here are from 1993. And then I have files with different sources. So files that come from different places. Most of them have been made by myself. They are my own work. So I have a column that says own work. But I also have some files that come from the media bank of the National Heritage Agency of the Netherlands. So I just made the difference here. And then I have the creator of the file, the photographer, and most of them have been made by me, but 4 of them have been made by the photographer Paul van Galen. He's the creator here. You can see his name probably. This is written here. So I took that as well. And then I also have information about the copyright of the file, the license of the file. And then I have some information about the things that are being depicted there. So as I said, most of the pictures that I'm showing you are of public art. So one of them is this bench that is called Jasbank, because it's a bench bank in Dutch, called named after the mayor Jas. That's his last name, Jasbank. And I don't know a creator for that bench. And it is on the Schelpweg, that's the name of the street in Rotterdam. And these are the names of the artworks, of the other artworks that are being depicted. So for instance, this one is entitled by Matt Mulligan in Schiedam. I can imagine this sounds really abstract, like Sandra, why these columns? I will actually give you a little bit of background about that. Don't be confused by the pictures you see here, because that's a browser extension. It shows beautiful images from Wikimedia Commons in each new tab. It's just, it brightens up my life. Let me see. In the meanwhile, there are some comments.
Yes, Sandra, we have a question from...
That is an excellent question.
Yeah.
So OpenRefine itself cannot do that. So what you are actually asking is, so if you have files on your computer or you download them from the internet, they usually have some internal data that is called the Exif metadata. I think sometimes also IPTF or something like that, acronyms. And indeed, you can use that data. OpenRefine doesn't load it. So we don't yet have a function in OpenRefine to load that. But you have other tools. You have external open source tools with which you can take files on your computer and then extract the Exif. And I have actually explained that in the document here. So I will show you the Google Doc again. I will open a tab. And there is somewhere in the Google Doc, let me see, I will look for Exif. An explanation. Let me see. Yes, A specialized tip, use Exif from files. And there's an explanation on a tool that you can use, the Exif tool. And I linked to a YouTube video that explains the process. You can do that. So that would be actually a process. I've known also already a case from a Wikimedian who told me, Sandra, I received a batch of files from a photographer. I have no data about it, but he stored everything in the Exif. Can I work with that? Well, then this is the perfect process. So you take the files on your laptop, on the hard drive that you've been given, you feed it into the Exif tool, and the Exif tool will then produce a CSV file for you, or will produce, it's going to be a CSV file, and then the CSV will provide all the data that you may need. It will probably also have the geo coordinates. It will have the date when the file was created, etc., etc. Maybe sometimes if it was added the name of the photographer, so you can use that. It can be very useful. It would be great to have that in OpenRefine, but it's an advanced feature, and that's not something we've been able to develop now. And there are really great external tools to do it. It's also not super complex. It looks a little bit complicated if you see it here, but believe me, it is not. It doesn't make me cry. Hopefully it won't make you cry. I know of people who've done this quite successfully. So thanks for that excellent question. That's absolutely fantastic. But many people ask it, and so it's really good that we have it on record here. Yes, I was going to say, so why all these columns? Why these specific columns and not other ones? You know, why not, I don't know, geo coordinates? I could have added that if I would have had them. Actually, I didn't even think about that, but I could have added a column with the geo coordinates. If you are not super familiar yet with structured data and commons, here's the fish again. I will search for the Wikimedia Commons explanation page about structured data, data modeling. Right there, it is also in the Google Doc. But I'm going to repeat it here. This is basic information about how you add structured data, what kind of structured data is minimally needed for files on Wikimedia Commons. So if you click on the basics, you will see every file, if you add structured data to it, would ideally, this is absolutely not compulsory, but the ideal structured data file at least has minimally a file caption in one language. More languages is good, but one language is already good. A date, source of the file, creator, and the copyright status and license. And each of these is then described in more detail here. So if you want to know, like, oh, how should I do copyright in structured data, then you can click here, structured data modeling, and you will see information about the copyright with examples. So right here, you see quite a few examples of how the modeling has been done. I will not go into depth about that, so this session is really about OpenRefine, but if you want to know beforehand, be prepared how to upload your files, then first check the data modeling pages, and with the data modeling pages, you will then see how to do it. So my spreadsheet here has all the minimum. And to help myself, I have these 4 columns with some information about the depicted things, but that's just to help me find the Wikidata items. So basically, with structured data on Wikimedia Commons, files on Wikimedia Commons are described with data from Wikidata. And in the case of this upload, almost everything that I have a photo of does already have a Wikidata item. I will admit that that's a situation that makes my life easy for this demonstration, because you may have situations where you have a photograph and it doesn't have a Wikidata item, and then your process will be different. But now I'm starting from the assumption that things that are shown in the photos or in the files have structured data. Okay, I've explained enough already. I see that my time is already flying. Just about the spreadsheet. Just to prepare, you can open a Google Sheet from OpenRefine as well. So you can here go to Google Data, a public spreadsheet. In my case, I have downloaded it as an Excel sheet. OpenRefine takes many different formats, so it doesn't really matter what you do. It can be a CSV, it can be an Excel sheet. You can link it from Google Drive if you want. I will now just open the, oh no, the wrong one. Click this. This is the one. I will now open the Excel file, and then it will load into OpenRefine. Here we go. And first, for people familiar with OpenRefine, you get a familiar preview of what your data will look like. And this looks a little bit weird to me. The spreadsheet has created some additional columns. That spreadsheet. But I can throw these away in a second. I don't know what happened there with the download. It's just added additional columns. And I will just give it a demo tag. Yeah, this is just a personal thing. Whenever I give demos like this, I name my projects demos, because then afterwards I can find all the demos I did. Create project. And now, just like I always do, I've created an OpenRefine project. All right, here we are, 12 rows. And so you see again, you just see the structure that I showed you here, but it's now in OpenRefine, all of it. And all right, I'm just going to scroll through and see all these stupid extra columns. Let me show you a neat little trick. It took me, I think, 3 years of using OpenRefine before I noticed that this was possible. So if you have columns that you don't use, or you want to reshuffle your columns, this is not about upload, but it's an OpenRefine trick. You can go to the first column in OpenRefine. You say the little arrow. I'm assuming you're familiar with the interface of OpenRefine, so the little menu arrow. And then you say edit columns, reorder, remove columns. Whoa. And now I can just say, I don't want all these stupid empty columns here. And I throw them away. Okay, this takes too long, but yeah. So that is quite handy. You can also reshuffle them. I'm not going to do that now because, I took care of having my columns in the right order, but if you have columns that are in the wrong place, you can also just drag them around here and say bloop, 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 like this. All right, so now I've gotten rid of the empty columns. I don't know why they were there. Good, so I have the file path on my computer, I have the file name, and I have all the other data. And as I said, I will want to make some of this data linked to Wikidata, because structured data on Commons is about describing files with Wikidata. So it is about saying, okay, this photographer has this Wikidata item, this copyright status has this Wikidata item. In fact, yesterday I already uploaded one. Can I find it really quickly? I can show you. I think this is the one that I uploaded. I will copy this file name and look it up on Commons. So I want my files eventually to look like this. Here it is. Here's one that I uploaded yesterday. So I want to end up with, it takes a while to load the thumbnail. Here we go. I want the caption to end up here. And then in the structured data, I want to have things like this, you know, linked to the Wikidata item of the artwork. Information about the creator, information about the copyright status, the Creative Commons license is also a Wikidata item, etc. The source of the file, the location of creation, etc. Good. So I will do some reconciliation. And I will not do all the reconciliation now. I've prepared another project that is already further away. Let me see what is helpful for me to show you. Well, maybe I can do one trick. So you see that I have a column here with the thing that is being depicted, that is shown in the photo. So that's usually a name of an artwork. And yeah, it's always the name of an artwork, in fact, or a creative work. And just to help myself, I've put a column with the name of the creator of the depicted thing. This information, Blauwe Golven, Blue Waves, this artwork here, that it's created by Peter Struiken, is actually in the Wikidata item already. So we don't need to add it on Wikimedia Commons again. So basically this photo here is, the photo itself is not made by that artist, by Peter Struiken. It's made by this other guy named, where's my project again? Paul van Galen. So that is sometimes a little bit of confusion in when uploading to Wikimedia Commons. You have information about the file, and then if the file shows a creative work, you also have the information about the work. And when you have the work on Wikidata, usually the information about about the work and its creator is on Wikidata, and then on Wikimedia Commons, you will say, I focus there on who created the file, who was the maker of the file. I hope that makes sense. I know that always confuses people a lot, so I hope that makes sense. But just to help me find the right things here, I added a column to remind me, okay, these works are by these people. So I will first actually, no, I will not do that. I will reconcile with Wikidata, because these should be Wikidata items. I will reconcile with Wikidata these specific, let me just go back, these specific names of artworks. So I go to reconcile. I will go a little bit slower. Start reconciling. And then I do not choose Wikimedia Commons because I am reconciling against Wikidata. I choose the Wikidata reconciliation service. And then it will take a while to just look at, the information that is here. It's not an album. All of these are works of art. So I just choose work of art. And then actually you can use additional columns to help you find the right thing. It helps if these columns are also reconciled, but I will now try actually unreconciled, saying that the creator of the depicted thing is the creator of the artwork. Creator. If you use OpenRefine in Portuguese, that will, have a different label, but you will also find it while typing creator. Okay, let's see. I will click Start Reconciling, and in the meanwhile, see if there are any more questions while we wait for the percentage to rise. Not yet. Yeah. Questions are very welcome. Look at this. It went quite well. I have most matches, except for one. This work by Matt Mullican, I think it is, oh, is it still here? This one, that's just a detail view in Schiedam, that's a town next to Rotterdam, is by the contemporary artist Matt Mullican. And he basically names all his works untitled. Everything is untitled. So we have like 20 untitled works by Matt Mullican on Wikidata, so I have to find the right one. So here I still have to choose. Let me see. No, I'm going to look it up on Wikidata because otherwise I'm just going to cry. Untitled Mullican Schiedam. Let's see if I find it. Yes, here we go. So I will, this is the one that I want. And I will just copy the queue number. I hope I'm not going too fast because I'm so, I have so much routine doing this that I'm like, plop, 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 copy pastes. So let me see, search for match. I will search it. And of course, in the suggestions, it's not there. Here we go. So here we have the right one. And now all my works have been reconciled. As a next step, I can also reconcile the location of creation, the license, the copyright status, because in the eventual file, all of these will be structured data, as you can see, which points to Wikidata. So I'm not going to do that now for the sake of time. I already have another project prepared where I reconciled everything. But one additional step that I will show you that is super crucial, I will show it now. To tell OpenRefine that you need to upload files to Commons, you also need to reconcile your file names to Wikimedia Commons. I know that sounds a little bit complicated. While developing this part, we try to simplify it a little bit. It is, if you've done uploads to Wikimedia Commons, to Wikidata before with OpenRefine, you will know that you have to indicate that certain files, that it will create new items on Wikidata, right? So you will have reconciled your column, and then you will say create a new item for this thing. I hope that makes sense. You actually have to do the same thing with OpenRefine, and there is a shortcut to do that. And I will show you the shortcut now. And that is a new feature that hasn't been documented anywhere yet. I'm very sorry about that. So that's why, yeah, that's why I'm showing you. And Lucas, you're very right. I'm now keeping an eye on the chat. To do the reconciliation, isn't it necessary to define the manage Wikibase instances first? Yes, indeed. So OpenRefine also needs to know that it has to be aware of Wikimedia Commons as a Wikibase that it can work against. That you're asking such great questions. You're helping me a lot. So if you don't have that yet, then you go to here, the extensions menu in OpenRefine, and you go to the extensions menu, manage Wikibase instances. And let's assume I don't have any besides, no, I don't want Rhizome. I want to delete Rhizome. I'm sorry, Rhizome people, I will get you back. If you have just a blank installation of OpenRefine from scratch, you will only have Wikidata here. And so you can actually tell OpenRefine that it can work with more Wikibases. I can see that. Lucas is almost an OpenRefine expert, I see here in the chat. Yes, you are. Yes, you can actually work with many more Wikibases in OpenRefine, and you can add as many Wikibases as you like. So besides Wikidata, you can work with local Wikibases, but now also with Wikimedia Commons. Oh, it's been a while since I've done this, so please bear with me. You can go here to, so you have here a button, Discover Wikibase Instances. You click that button, and then you will go to a little bit intimidating looking GitHub page. Don't be too afraid, where you see some public Wikibase manifests, as it's called. It is basically like settings files for different Wikibases besides Wikidata that you can feed to OpenRefine, so that OpenRefine understands that Wikibase, it knows the API, it knows how to upload things there. It has all the information. You know, it's like the passport of a Wikibase for OpenRefine. It's like the key that you need to open that Wikibase, basically. And one of them is the Wikimedia Commons manifest. I see it's 8 months old. That makes a lot of sense. I think that's okay. And then if you click that, you will see that it has, you go to the code and you can, it's JSON. You might even understand some things in here. It's actually kind of understandable what's in here. And I usually then go to the raw link. I click on the raw link. This is, by the way, also explained in the big Google Doc. I go to the raw link and I copy the URL here. That is the most sustainable way to do this, because maybe in the future, you know, someone will change a few things about the manifest here. There will be some settings that change, or the manifest will be more advanced or something like that. And then if you have the link to it, it will always stay the same. So your OpenRefine will automatically update to the new one. You can also copy the code. That is also possible, but it is slightly better to add the link itself. So you can either do what I just did, paste that link. I could have also gone and, you know, raw, or just here, copy the whole thing, copy the raw file and pasted that here. Now I've done that, but as I just said, that's okay, but it is smarter. Smart people, extremely smart people. Smart people do the pasting, extremely smart people do the URL. So now I say add Wikibase, and ta-da, here we have Wikimedia Commons. And now I will have to tell OpenRefine, hey, but now you actually have to work with Wikimedia Commons. So I switched to Wikimedia Commons, so you can actually click and activate it. This is also something for which we have changed the interface a little bit to make it a bit clearer. So now, okay, now OpenRefine says, oh, Sandra, I'm going to work with Wikimedia Commons for you. Yay, hello. So, and then back to what I was saying before is I have to tell OpenRefine, okay, now I'm going to ask you to create new actually Wikibase thingies for me from the file name I want the file to have on Wikimedia Commons. So for the column of your file names, not any other column, this specific column, you can say, you could say, I can reconcile it against Wikimedia Commons, and then say, I want new files, but we have a shortcut for that now. You say reconcile actions, create a new item for each cell, and then you pick the reconciliation service that fits with the manifest that you have added. So as soon as you have added the manifest that I just did in the previous screen with the manage Wikibase instances, it will also know about the reconciliation service for OpenRefine for Wikimedia Commons. And so I pick this one and I say, okay. And then it will just in a snap for you, give you this light green indication. Normally when you reconcile against existing items on Wikidata, this is the reconciled against Wikidata, you see that it's dark green. But light green means this will become new items. And it also has a little, I will make it a little bit bigger, new in the indicator here. For people who have used OpenRefine before with Wikidata, it looks exactly the same. It will say, oh, I need to create a new Wikidata item for this person. And then it will also have the new thingy behind the name. Oh, I did something wrong here, undo. Okay, let me make this smaller again. So these are the basic steps I need to do to prepare my data before I even start, modeling it for my uploads. Now, I will do a little bit shortcut on time. I will go to the other project I prepared, exactly the same as this one, but it is with everything reconciled already. So I will open project, the fully prepared one. So this is the one I did yesterday for you, from which I already did one upload. Wait for it to load. So you see exactly the same thing. There is actually one dark green thingy here. That's because I uploaded this one file already. That's one that I showed you now. So I flagged it and I started just saying, okay, I uploaded this one already. I just wanted to test if upload works. You never know. And what else did I do? So I have a file caption. I reconciled the language of the captions. So I have some captions in English. I have some captions in Dutch. I reconciled the source of the file. I also did one thing. So if you go to the data modeling, I threw that away. Let me see. The data modeling page about sources. You have basically, yeah, that's a little bit advanced. You have different sources that files can come from. You can have your own work, and you can have files that come from the internet. And for both, you have different modeling conventions. So if you say the source of the file is a file available from the internet, then you say that as a source. That is also a Wikidata item. And own work, let me see. Yeah, this is super advanced. I thought own work by the original uploader or original creation by uploader, you have different types of sources. So I did a little bit of splitting here where I have different types of sources for my data modeling. And then for the GLAM files, I have a separate column with the link where they come from. I hope that makes sense. I reconciled the creator names. In my case, I have a Wikidata item. I didn't ask for that, but it's just someone created it. It is very possible to not have a Wikidata item and then just be mentioned as a string, as author name string. So that is also perfectly fine. So there's no very serious need to have a Wikidata item for every photographer. But in this case, they were there. There's also a Wikidata item for the photographer of the GLAM files, because we already have a lot of photos of this person, by this person. I did not reconcile the copyright status because it's the same everywhere. You will see soon when I start modeling it. And then, yeah, I reconciled all the other columns as well. I also added one more column, which is the Wikitext. I didn't talk about that yet, and it is a little bit of a complex part of the upload process. So as you have seen, I have until now really focused on the structured data of the files, but files on Wikimedia Commons still need to have Wikitext as well. So if you go to the one file I uploaded yesterday, and let me see if I can find it again. Oh no. It's probably in my contributions or in my uploads. Yeah, here we are. Then you see, while I did that upload, if I look at the edit source, that it still has also Wikitext. It still has text in here. And yeah, it's probably a bit with the multi-lines. I'm not sure if that will show up in the chat. That might look weird. But I also put it in the Etherpads. So I put examples of the Wikitext in the Etherpads so that you can copy them. And they are also quite well explained in the document here, Wikitext tips and tricks, with examples here. So going back to what I was saying, every file still needs Wikitext. And I have been a little bit easy here for the demo. I have chosen cases of uploads where you can actually use what I call extremely minimal Wikitext. It is actually super simple. You can see that you only have open and closed curly brackets about art photo or information, and you have information about a license. You have at least one category, and that's basically it. You have a very simple Wikitext. But you might have uploads where you have more extensive Wikitext that says photographer is this person, and etc., etc., etc. That is also possible. You can do that in OpenRefine. It is not fun to do, I have to say. So usually I do uploads with OpenRefine where we already have examples where the Wikitext is really simple, can be made really simple. And I think in the document here, I have also described in which cases that's possible. So for information, artwork, art photo, and book, you can do the very simple Wikitext that makes your life so much easier. But for other templates, unfortunately, that is not possible yet. So if you have photograph, a specimen, a map, others like that, unfortunately, you will still need the full Wikitext because it is not automatically loading the structured data yet. Why not? It's mainly because the one volunteer who does all the creation of structured data powered templates with Lua, so that's with the scripting language that draws the structured data from Wikidata and from Wikimedia Commons. There's one volunteer who does amazing work with that, Jarek. He hasn't gotten around to it yet, so we should all be super nice to Jarek and ask him very nicely, or have other people trained to help us develop more templates that are structured data powered. In my opinion, it's also an advantage. I will answer your question very quickly. An advantage that you don't have duplication of data or data drift. So if you have both the same data in the Wikitext and in the structured data, then maybe someone will add it to Wikitext and then the data will be different from the structured data. So to keep things in sync, in my opinion, it's better to just have, the structured data be leading. But and I have the impression that the Commons community is really okay with that, that there is already consensus that it's okay to have very minimal light Wikitext. But yeah, it's not possible for all use cases yet, and that's a bit a pity, and it's a little bit of a blocker for tools like this as well. Sandra, yes, you have the same name as me. Once you add structured data in Commons, using art photo will get the works information from it. Exactly. So you will not need to add more information than that. It will just take, if you did your structured data correctly, it will just take that structured data and that's it. And it will be multilingual. So that's the amazing thing. If you will switch your language on Commons, and if the Wikidata items are in other languages as well, then the information in the template will switch too. So yeah, that's actually why we do structured data. It's to enable this multilingualism as well. So indeed, I am the biggest fan in the world of what I call the minimalist Wikitext, and so that is actually why I try to promote it in sessions like this. And if anyone hears this session and they want to help get more templates like this, fully structured data powered, and want to help Jarek in his heroic efforts, I would really applaud you to do that. All right, back to the project. So I have added a column with Wikitext. It is compulsory to have Wikitext with an upload on Wikimedia Commons. If you don't add it, I don't think even it's possible to do the upload. I haven't tried it, but and as you can see, each one has a little bit different setup. So most of them are art photo, but this first one is just information. So this first one is the photo of, I don't have it here anymore, of the people at the hackathon. And that's just, it doesn't show an artwork. It just shows great people. And so that has the information template, and otherwise you have the art photo template. And that will indeed then show the information like this. I love the art photo template because it has the distinction between the object itself, and then you also see information about the photograph. So I like this splitting. You see that the photograph is Paul van Galen, and you see that the artist of the artwork is Peter Struiken. You see the difference between both. I hope that makes sense. I hope I'm not rambling too much. So here I have a spreadsheet or an OpenRefine project with all my data ready. And now the next step I need to do is actually prepare it for upload in the same way as I would do it for Wikidata using Schema. So I go to my extensions menu again, and then I say edit Wikibase schema. I'm going to throw this one away. All right. So this is the situation I start from an empty schema. And that's a new feature here as well. Here you can switch between Wikibase instances. So with the different manifests that you have added, if you add other Wikibases, you will see more here in the menu. You can choose Wikidata or Wikimedia Commons. In this situation, I am going to upload to Wikimedia Commons. So you have to think, what wiki am I going to upload to? Wikimedia Commons, I choose that one. And then I can say, I have the button here, I think with Wikidata, it says add item, and then you will get your familiar, where you start building your schema. Wikimedia Commons has add media. And then you have, it looks a little bit different. So you see that right here, you have to drag the name of the reconciled column of the new file you want to create. So here I drag the file name I want the file to have on Wikimedia Commons. I made my column names explicit. You can also have them really short. The name doesn't matter as long as you understand them and you know which one is which. But for educational purposes, I made them very long. And the file path, so here I drag the file path. Again, the file name. So this is a little bit double. This feels double. We've discussed that while building this, like, yes, this is double. But basically here you say, okay, this is this text I want to be in the file name. And here you say, this is, the new entity I want you to create. So you have to do it twice. And then the Wikitext, which, as I said, is really important. Now, imagine that all your files have the same Wikitext. Then you could also say, you can also paste just one value in here. So let's say that all the files here have been this, then I can just do this, paste the Wikitext in here. This is override existing Wikitext. If you would edit existing files, you can even overwrite the Wikitext of those files. That's a dangerous thing to do, so be careful. But in this case, I have different Wikitext for different files, so I will indeed drag it again. I will show another new feature. It is still a little bit underdeveloped, and the interface is not optimal. We've been having long discussions about it because it's a little bit complicated, but it can be helpful. We also have data models now inside of OpenRefine. We call them schema templates. I know it is, we've talked about the naming. It can use improvements, let me say that. But basically, inside OpenRefine, if you have the Wikimedia Commons extension installed, I didn't talk about that yet. Remind me to show that later. You can actually choose here that you want to have some data modeling. So in this case, I will pick art photo from a point of view. This comes pre-installed for me in OpenRefine, and then it will already give you the structure. I have a bug. I haven't had this for a while. This is great. Well, it's not great for a demo, but I'm now trying to scroll and it doesn't scroll. I think I can fix it by just switching back and forth. Let me see. Yes. So if you get this bug, people, then just switch back to your project itself here and switch back to your schema here. But basically what this does, it gives you some pre-given fields of a typical type of file. So you see that you have the option to have an artwork, photo of an artwork, information, artwork, art photo, or a book. We pre-created those because they are often used and they are the ones that have these simple wiki text. We could add more. So there are more situations, and as soon as we have more templates, then we can add more. Now I choose art photo, and you see that I have a little bit of help with the data modeling. It's a little bit like, entity schemas on Wikidata. You could say it's a different system, but it's the same principle. Okay, because I switched, I have to do the trick again, but that's all right. Repetition is a good teacher. So I will drag all these columns again that I just explained, the file path here, the Wikitexts, and then I will actually drag the caption language here, the file caption here. So if you do Wikidata, this is where you get the description, and on Commons, you get this as the caption. So this will look familiar, it's just names slightly different. I will take the creator, not the creator of the depicted thing, but the creator of the file. And I will just add a qualifier. Object has role. This is also data modeling convention. It's not compulsory, but photographer. I think with the previous upload, I didn't do that. And then I have the date when the file was created. I have the source of the file, type of the source. Oh, yes. And then I have two situations of two different data modelings. So I will just do a selection, let me see, of the, how will I do this? I will do a selection of the RCE files because they are all from a cultural institution. See, I didn't think about this when preparing. So the source of the file is, in all of these cases, it is a file from the internet, and then you have to add the information that it is from a certain operator. You also see that information in the data modeling pages. Beeldbank. This is the operator, the image bank of the National Heritage Agency of the Netherlands. And Lucas, I will answer your question really quickly after doing this, operator, and then you add the URL like this. URL, describe that URL, and then source URL. Like this. I will first finish the schema just to keep the flow going, and then I will come to your question, Lucas, because it is a little bit out of the flow. The copyright status, I have it. Oh, it's all copyrighted. I did not reconcile this one, so I will type it here. This is basically coming back to what I said early in the presentation. Sometimes all your files are the same in many areas, the same license, the same, copyright status, the same creator. And then you don't even need columns in your project here, if you understand what I'm saying. You can also just add them in the schema. So that makes your life easier, of course, and then you need less data in the beginning. So that's one of the situations where you can maybe just start from, one list of files on your hard drive with no additional data, or just one or two extra columns. But in this case, the license was different. So if you will look at my spreadsheet, you will see that my own files are CC BY, and the files from the institution are CC BY SA, so they are different. And then I have, of course, the depicted thing. And then again, a data modeling convention on Wikimedia Commons is that you also have for artworks that the main subject is that you also have a main subject statement. So you have two statements. So you should check data modeling conventions all the time when preparing for uploads like this, like how should I model files, look at files that have been modeled before. I think that should ideally be part of better documentation in the future, that I have good examples of files so that you can check how to do it. And I also took the effort of adding the location of creation of the file. So I will add that as well. Location of creation. All right, and then I put this here. Voila. No references. If you do batch uploads to Wikidata with OpenRefine, then OpenRefine will usually nag you, rightfully so, that you should add references in Wikidata. Wikidata is a little bit more strict in asking for references, I would recommend it as best practice that every statement that you add has a reference. On Wikimedia Commons, it is technically possible. It is not compulsory. I would say I like having references. So if you do an upload from a cultural institution, I'm now not being the best citizen. I am not adding them. I know that not many people don't do it, but you can do it and it is good practice. So right now I'm not doing it. It's okay to not do it, but you're a better human if you do it. And that's my schema, basically. I will now look at the issues that I have, upload new files, that's great. And then preview. Oh yeah, of course, that's good. And I will see a preview. Well, maybe I can just do the upload, and then while it's uploading these 3 files, I will come back to the questions. Let me do that. So this will look familiar to people who have done edits with OpenRefine before. Then you say upload edits to Wikibase. I see very excellent questions. I type my user data here. Okay, here we go. Voila. I log in. Summary, upload during Wikidata Lab. It's the 37th. I think it's like this. I learned Latin numbers in primary school. I hope it's right. Upload edits. Good. While it's uploading, hopefully, I will answer the questions. So let's see. The first question that I haven't answered yet is by Lucas. You mentioned override existing Wikitext. Can we upload new versions on top of an existing file? You cannot upload new files on top of existing files, but you can replace the Wikitext of a file. I hope that makes sense. So you cannot do what you can do on file pages on Wikimedia Commons, say like upload a new file. That is not possible. But if the Wikitext, for some reason is old-fashioned, or you've done a lot of effort on structured data and you want to have other Wikitext, then you can replace the Wikitext. So that is that question. Cookie Berry asks, has there been discussion on loading a schema template from an entity schema in OpenRefine? Yes. We've investigated it, and long story short, as I said, this has been a bit of a headache to develop. Entity schemas have been really hard to implement in this way in OpenRefine. I think they are not even supported yet on Wikimedia Commons, so that is one hurdle. But even for Wikidata, I know that there have been technical hurdles, and there is some documentation, I think, on Fabricator about that discussion. It has been a public discussion. I think Antonin, who is the developer of OpenRefine, has even had a chat with Lydia Pincher, and everyone came to the conclusion, like, ideally it would be that, but it is, for technical reasons, it was hard. So unfortunately, it would be the way to go, basically. That's why we do entity schemas, right? And I know that at least on Wikidata, entity schemas are now the UX is being improved. So yeah. Unfortunately not. OpenRefine has its own system, and I'm actually, a bit sorry about that, but we needed to be practical in that area at this point. Maybe in the future this will change. I don't know. Sandra asks, so must I upload a batch of my own work separated from the batch from the institution? There's no need, actually. I now did it because the data modeling for both is different. I know that the data modeling is different. So you see here that with source of file, I added an operator. The operator is the image bank of the cultural heritage of the Netherlands. And my files are not from the operator cultural heritage of the Netherlands. And that's the only reason why I split them out now, because the data modeling has been different. But if the data modeling would have been the same for all of them, I would have had a mix of GLAM files and my own files, then I could have also have done them in one go. So I would say, keep all the files together that have the same data modeling. That would be my general recommendation. Next question is, what is the maximum file size in OpenRefine? We do not do chunked uploads, so the maximum file size is 100 megabytes, and that's a hard limit. And we have had many people confused, like I try to upload big files, it doesn't work. We're sorry. That is, I know that that is a big ask, and if there can be continued development, I think that will be high on the agenda to add that. So only up to 100 megabytes. Is it possible to change SDC in OpenRefine? Yes. It is. So that is also a new thing that has been added to OpenRefine. It is very subtle. I think many people are not aware of it yet. Let me go back to the schema. Let's say that I want to change the creator of the file or something like that. Now you have this little, I will make it a bit bigger, like a wheel here in OpenRefine that says configure. And there you can change your editing mode. So OpenRefine can now also remove and replace statements. Or just delete. Yes, it can delete, and then afterwards you can replace. So I think it doesn't do it in one go. That's a good question. I'm a little bit rusty, I have to say. I know for sure I have deleted existing statements with OpenRefine, and then afterwards you can add new ones. So you can say delete, and then you have various matching strategies. So you can say like, oh, I only want to delete in the case that the property value and qualifiers are, as follows. And yeah, this is where you can do that. This is a pretty new feature. I think it has been introduced only a few versions ago. It is something that many people don't know. So right now I have set delete. I'm not going to do these edits, but if I now would do this edit, this batch edit on Wikimedia Commons, it would actually delete the creator statement. And that's really powerful. So that's something really good to know. In the meanwhile, my upload has been done. It's been only 3 files, so afterwards I will upload the rest, so you can check my contributions. Let me see, contributions. We can just look at if it's been successful. Here we are. That's 91. This certainly has been new. So yeah, this is what the upload looks like now. And yeah, the thumbnails load a bit slowly. You see that it looks the same. So this is the structured data-driven Wikitext. And here's the structured data. Oh, why is this? Oh, I thought I did it wrong. Copyright status. Ah, well, I will have to delete this. This is an exercise for me after I made a mistake here. So I will have to use OpenRefine to fix my mistakes. I can also do it manually, but yes. Good. So yeah, that was the demo. Very quick. There was one thing I forgot to tell you. It is actually not super relevant or the most relevant to uploading files, but it is just good to know. OpenRefine now also has, I will leave this, Wikimedia Commons extension. So the Wikimedia Commons extension for OpenRefine, let me see, I will look it up on the internet. I think I put the link as well in the Etherpads, and it is also on the Wikimedia Commons info page. Wikimedia Commons extension OpenRefine, here we go. Where is it? Here it is. This page has information about how to install it in OpenRefine and on the kind of features it has. Basically, the Wikimedia Commons extension also allows, it will add another option to your create project list. It will add the option Wikimedia Commons. And this is super helpful. I think I did not show this yet in the previous Wikidata Lab because it wasn't possible yet. You can now load files. If you want to edit existing files on Wikimedia Commons, you can load files from a category. So for instance, I don't know, Sao Paulo, I don't know if that will, Sao Paulo in the 2000s, and then you can check the depth. I think my, yes, I have to make it a little bit smaller. Then it will load your project with those files. And yeah, this is a common error and you can just ignore that. And another thing it does is it also shows thumbnails, little thumbnails of, let me see if I have one. This one is probably a bit big to load, but it also shows thumbnails of media files. So if you have this looks so nice. If you have the Wikimedia Commons extension installed, then it will show the thumbnails of your files, the existing files on Wikimedia Commons. So not newly uploaded files, but existing files. And I forgot to say one thing. Oh, I had it in mind. Oh yeah, it will also automatically add the Wikimedia Commons manifest. So you don't have to do that complicated step that I just showed you a bit earlier in the demo. That's kind of it, I would say, for this session. Maybe the last thing I want to remind people of, can I have 1 more minute, is that you can also use OpenRefine from in the cloud as a Wikimedian. I might have mentioned that in previous sessions as well. So you have the pause installation. It looks like this. Just, I'm now being a little bit awkward here. So on Wikimedia Cloud, we have like a virtual, let me say, working environment. It's called PAUSE. I don't know what it stands for, but it is a place where you can run applications in the cloud. You can run Jupyter notebooks for whoever is familiar with that, and that also has OpenRefine. So if for some reason it's difficult for you to install OpenRefine on your own computer, you just want to work in the cloud because you find that helpful, you switch computers a lot, then you can use PAUSE. You need to sign in with your own MediaWiki account. So it will do it like this for me. And then it will start a PAUSE. And basically there you have a working environment, especially if you are a bit of a coder, scripter, then this is a nice place to have. And it also has OpenRefine. And you just click the OpenRefine link in here, the OpenRefine logo. It is still the old logo, but yeah, that's the one to choose. And then it will take a while, but it will load OpenRefine for you. It is very important to note that with this cloud version, you cannot upload files from your local computer because, it does not, it considers this cloud as its local place. So now I have OpenRefine here in the cloud, but I cannot tell it like, oh, go to my local hard drive and find files there. That is unfortunately not possible here. But you can do all the other things like upload things to Wikidata. You can clean data in here. You can also use the Wikimedia Commons extension that I just talked about because that's also pre-installed here. One last thing that I forgot to say is it is also possible to upload files from a URL. So if you work with a cultural institution and they have their files on the internet, then it's not necessary to download those files to your computer, but you can use the links from the cultural institution as well. But in that case, you have to make sure that they are listed on Wikimedia Commons, and that process is also explained in the documentation. Oof, I might have overloaded you with a lot of last-minute factoids. I hope it hasn't been too overwhelming, and I hope this is helpful. Let me see, allow list. Yes, so it also has a section, I want to upload files from URLs on the web, and there you find information on how to do that. Good, I will now stop sharing my screen.
We have another question from Sandra.
Yes, exactly.
That we will use OpenRefine to correct metadata from files uploaded with Bedpan.
Yes, I would say so. So you can then use the override Wikitext feature that you saw earlier. I think it will not be super easy to do because you will need to prepare your new Wikitext in OpenRefine. So you will have to really look at the Wikitext of the existing files and change it. I think it's possible. Yeah, I don't know of anyone who has done that, but I think it's a very valid use case. And yeah, if you want to do that, certainly. Of course, there are also other tools that you can use to batch edit existing Wikitext. So maybe OpenRefine would not be your first choice, but if you think, oh, I have one big thing that I want to do in bulk, and I like using OpenRefine, then certainly you can do that. Yes.
And I have one question. You
Yes.
mentioned answering Lucas the question about the max file size.
Yeah.
So I was thinking that is it only for images, or would we be able to work with PDF files or
Oh, yes,
video
absolutely.
files?
Yes, I actually had one video file in my list. I ended up not uploading it yet, but yes, the format doesn't matter. The only thing I have noticed, and it's absolutely not OpenRefine's fault, it's just in general problematic on Wikimedia Commons, is TIFF files. Because apparently I'm not super technical and I'm not super into TIFF files, but TIFF files can be many different things internally, and they are sometimes problematic to upload to Commons because they are organized differently. And so we've had people who, had really good TIFF files that looked good, not too big, but they refused to upload with OpenRefine because TIFF. I think Pattypan has the same problem. So we're aware of that. But otherwise, I've uploaded videos. Have I uploaded audio? Not yet. PDF, certainly, absolutely no problem. So you should be able to do any format as long as you stay under 100 megabytes.
Great. So thank you. I don't see any more questions. I see comment from Lucas saying that's a powerful tool.
It
I
is.
also think that is a powerful tool.
Yes. Yeah.
And a great, I like this Wikidata Labs where we present OpenRefine, because it's as Lucas said, a powerful tool, and we need these kind of tools to execute our glam work or uh, not editathon, but phototons or something like that, like photo walks, so people could upload their images. I think it's a great tool for this part of uploading the the photos that we have, or any files for that matter. So thank you, Sandra, again for showing us this new feature from OpenRefine. Um, Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
for
your time
being
and
fantastic hosts
availability.
again. Yes.
Thank you. And I will invite everyone watching to join us in a Jitsi, or join me in a
I
Jitsi.
forgot one
So I can,
thing. Can I
yeah,
still
oh,
say one
yeah,
thing?
yeah.
Oh, I was going to say for those people who are active users of OpenRefine in the Wikimedia world, you can of course, always ask questions on OpenRefine's own forum. I would actually encourage that. It's a really good place to ask questions. But there's also, if you use Telegram, we have a Telegram group for OpenRefine users. And I just pasted the link to that Telegram group as well, and it's also in the Etherpad. If you want to join there and use that group to ask questions, you're very welcome. Yeah, I'm sorry for the last minute interruption.
Oh, that's not a problem. I will invite everyone watching that still have questions that we discuss, especially the people watching. I think Sandra and Lucas, and other people on YouTube as well. So I can guide them in less practical questions that they might have in Portuguese on the Jitsi. I'll post the link now. So we will go until the next hour. So if you have any questions, uh, say join the meeting and send me the questions. I'll try to answer, and not only about this new feature, but questions about OpenRefine. I can help everyone with that. Also, we have a lot of documentation, but sometimes speaking and doing like a troubleshooting meeting, it's a good way to go. So join us if you have any questions. And thank you again, Sandra. I hope to see you in more Wikidata Labs, not only about OpenRefine, but other tools and other things. I think Glenn tools are things that are on the spotlight on the Wikimedia movement. So it's a hot area for development, and I think we can do Wikidata Labs about all of them. So I hope to see you soon also.
Thanks, and good luck everyone with editing with OpenRefine. Happy refining, and don't be afraid to ask questions in the various places where you can ask questions. Don't be shy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.